Everybody gets an upgrade now. You get an upgrade.
It's an Oprah Winfrey.
You get the better valves.
The holder of the world record in Pro Street, the KC Turbo crew from Mesa, Arizona.
Welcome back to the KC Turbos podcast show. We've got Jared, Kill Devil Diesel in town, helping out with the race truck today. Hold on, let me, I gotta lift my chair up a little bit. With you two giants in here, I feel really, I'm almost 6 foot tall, but standing next to these guys, I kind of feel like a little kid. Go get a tape measure. 5'11", okay.
Almost 6 foot.
Jared, welcome back.
Dude, welcome.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming out, making sure, I guess that we weren't idiots.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, never a dull moment, right? Trying to push the limits and break new boundaries, right? Yeah. So I'm trying a few new things on the race truck and, glad to be here.
So what's new with Kill Devil Diesel? Yeah.
Man, we have been, trying to improve our delivery of cylinder heads and engines for, the last year or two, hardcore, and has been our number one goal. And so to facilitate that, we've, it's like all the boring backside of business that no one cares about, but, new inventory system, new CNC machines, to really help improve our manufacturing. That's been our number one focus, and I'm glad to say.
That's huge, because it seems like KDD is the option everybody wants, but the only thing I ever see is they're like, well, I really want Kill Devil Diesel, but the lead times are a little longer than I want.
We're trying to eliminate the but,
no more buts.
Yeah, no more but, and so we've been blessed with a ton of demand from customers, and it's taken a while to get our inventory system and manufacturing and everything, but I'm proud to say, quality is better than ever, and for the first time in a long time, we're delivering heads same day, next day usually now.
Same day? As of recording this podcast, if I need a set of heads, it's shipping out within 24 hours.
Yep, absolutely. Wow. And
that feels nice. Yeah.
Part of the way that we've been able to do that, we used to offer a lot of different options, and it was kind of complicated. We got a lot of calls like, do I need O-rings or not, or what valve springs do I need? And so we kind of just made the decision, everyone gets an upgrade.
Yeah. That's the new standard.
Well, and we found there's no downside to the O-rings. Yeah. We found that the O-rings solve head gasket issues for everyone, and
not for just 6.0 guys. Also, this is becoming common practice for lots of platforms. Fire rings have been around for a long time, but O-rings seems to be the go-to that most people want.
Absolutely. So we've had such good success with the O-rings, and like we talked last time was here, we didn't invent O-rings, it's an old hot rod trick that's been around for a long time.
Rubber O-rings?
Synthetic, or what's it made of?
Yeah, we get that question all the time, is it a rubber O-ring? You think like a rubber or Vital, O-ring.
And O-ring, got it.
No, we use a hardened stainless wire, and we cut a groove into the head, and then the wire presses into the groove, and the wire sticks out of the head, and so that goes around where the cylinder is and helps really clamp down on the gasket. And the best way I can describe it is imagine closing a pencil in between the pages of a book, when where the pencil is going to focus pressure through the pages of the book. Well, that's kind of what we're doing with the O-ring on the gasket. And
so what's a fire ring? How is that different?
So a fire ring is usually so with an O-ring, the O-ring is applying pressure to the gasket, but the gasket still does the sealing. We're just kind of helping to supercharge how the gasket works. With a fire ring, it's a ring that goes directly in between the head and the block. So on an O-ring, the ring presses onto the gasket does the sealing. With a fire ring, and some people use those terms interchangeably. People say, I got fire ringed heads, and they mean O-ringed and vice versa. But a fire ring is a larger diameter ring, and usually used with a groove, except it's not like a thin wire that presses into the head. It's a big round ring. And that is the direct seal between the head and the block. So the fire ring directly seals combustion.
So O-ring squishes existing gasket. Fire ring kind of replaces the gasket right where the fire ring is.
Yep, exactly.
And what would be the downside of why wouldn't you just run fire rings on everything?
So pros and cons, right? A fire ring is a great combustion seal for 1,500, 2,000 horsepower, which is what we're running on your race truck at 2,000 horsepower, trying to sustain 2,000 horsepower. However, there's a lot of downsides to fire rings on a daily driver, particularly from the install standpoint. So for the average user who doesn't want to have to do you read online like a hot retorque. So you install everything, get the truck fired up. So after you've got the radiator hoses and the injectors and the fuel lines and the turbo piping and everything back on it, and you fire it up. and then immediately have to take all that crap back off and then do a hot retorque. Yeah. And so, and sometimes in some manufacturers, and you talk to
a couple hot retorques, right?
Sometimes several, depending on who you talk to.
Like O-rings, one and done. You just install them just like factory heads, factory gaskets, torque it like normal.
Exactly.
And then you're done.
Yep.
That's a huge benefit in my opinion.
Especially on the trucks that have more stuff going on and lines and hoses and everything on top. Plus, it's just extra opportunity for contamination, extra opportunity for leaks and something else to go wrong, doing hot retorques. And like I said, fire rings have their place. They're fine. But the O-rings, they hold fine. And, we've got 1,000 horsepower 6-liters running around with an O-ring in the head. Cummins Land 800 to 1,000 horsepower O-ring, way to go.
If someone still wants fire rings, is that a custom thing to do, but just maybe a longer lead time?
Yeah, we'll still do. So we have O-ring heads in stock, for 7.3, 6.0, 6.4 Cummins. You do some Duramax stuff too. The fire ring stuff, we'll still do it. It's a custom built to order deal. So sometimes a little bit longer lead time on the fire ring stuff that, again, for most people is just kind of really not needed. The O-rings, and even we have such good luck in 6-liter land, in Cummins Land, we've done O-rings forever, that, we've actually, one of the things kind of a little unconventional is like we've now done O-rings on 7.3s. Yeah. And so,
how dare you? Yeah.
And it's like we got some weird looks from people, from some of the 7.3 guys that is like, we don't do that in 7.3 land. And like, well, yeah, we do. And it works all the same benefits. It's worked really good. And even in a 7.3, you've got 6 head bolts per cylinder.
Must be nice, dude. Must be nice.
And we've done those either with a factory gasket or the Cometic MLX gaskets, and that's worked really, really well. And it's kind of updates the 7.3 and like more modern technology, an MLS gasket, and we can get a little bit better surface finish on the heads.
7.3s has become a big part of your game now. I didn't realize that it was picking up so much for you.
Yeah, 7.3s have been one of our most popular. We've kind of we're kind of known as like the 6.0 guys, and we still do a lot of 6-liters, a lot of 6.4s. 6.7s are popular too, of course, but the 7.3s, they have been increasingly popular for us. And I don't know if we're just finding those customers or they're finding us or what, but our long blocks for 7.3 has been super popular, and our 7.3 heads have been super popular too.
And in Streamline, you talked about O-rings, but I know you used to have a lot more options for valves and different other options. Yeah. It seems like that's been streamlined a little bit also.
We used to offer kind of like a stock valve, and then kind of like a upgraded valve, and sometimes even like an oversized race valve, and then we'd offer 2 and 3 different spring options, and it's kind of just confusing. A lot of customers called in and didn't really know which ones are right for me, and we kind of just made the decision that this upgraded like a heavy duty performance spring as an extra seat pressure to help combat boost and back pressure. It's a little bit of a performance spring, still perfectly suitable for daily driving, and then everyone gets a stainless nitrided valve now. So nitriding is a surface treatment process. So most valves are chrome plated. Stainless nitriding reduces friction, helps the valves last longer. And so we have by streamlining all that, instead of trying to stock 30 different kinds of valves and 30 different kinds of springs and trying to machine the heads 30 different ways, it has really allowed us to improve delivery on heads where everyone, gets an upgrade. And if you want if you've got a 1,500, 2,000 horsepower sled pulling truck and you still want fire rings, we can do fire rings. That's fine. But for everyone else, we've been able to really improve delivery with heads in stock. Yeah.
So in the Streamline process, it's just everybody gets an upgrade now. You get an upgrade.
It's Oprah Winfrey
You get the better valves and you get the better valve springs. And that's the only option you're going to get.
Yeah.
That sounds like a benefit for everyone to quicker delivery, better options.
Part. Well, better easier install.
Makes it easier for me. I was starting here and didn't know what parts to put on my truck. Looking on your website, like, do I want the 100s or the 120s or do I want the fancy valves? And now you just made it easy for me. It's the new standard. It's like, okay, I can trust that. It's like, that's it.
Well, and we use a really good quality USA-made valve and spring because there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of the valves and springs that come in these, kind of knockoff and Amazon, eBay stuff. It's like the valves are, and the springs that they come with are like not, and never mind they come that way assembled, and it's like we start with a raw casting, we go through and do all the finished machine work from start to finish in-house on state-of-the-art equipment, CNC resurface, O-ring, valve seat profile, valve job, and then we assemble them and test everything. So everything is, touched by us in-house in North Carolina before they ship out. So we have really, really good quality control. And, so some of the other production systems and stuff that we've added, we can keep up better than ever now, which is great. And the quality is better than ever now, too. Started, a decade ago with me doing this in my garage at 2 a.m. And the quality today is much better than, than it was 10 years
Always
ago.
Always been great, but just much better.
Yeah,
I have a question for you. I've recently heard rumors online. of the 6.4 head gasket upgrade for 6.0. Well, I don't understand. Why would someone install a 6.4 head gasket on a 6.0 Power Stroke? Is it really an upgrade?
So, I don't necessarily believe that it's an upgrade. And the best I can figure is, so 6 liter and 6.4s have a different bore size. Well, with that is a different O-ring diameter. And this is like, well, not all O-ringed heads are created equally anyway, So in other words, in a 6 liter, there's not just like one O-ringed option, right? The diameter of the groove in the head and then the protrusion of the wire. And so where that ring is going to land on the gasket is really critical to making that O-ring work correctly. And so we've seen some places that have the O-ring in a different place than we install the O-ring and have issues with blown head gaskets even with O-ringed heads. And actually, as a matter of fact, we've gotten some of those heads from customers that have been bought elsewhere, and and it's like, I don't want to criticize and say someone else did something wrong, but for sure putting the 6.4 groove in the 6 liter head is wrong, and it's like because it lands in the wrong spot of the 6 liter gasket. And so and we've seen heads that have been brought to us by other places that's like has 2 thousandths of O-ring protrusion on one end of the head and 20 thousandths on the other end of the head. We've seen, where a customer got 2 heads and one had a O-ring diameter that was like 4,175. The other one had an O-ring diameter that was like 4,300. And it's like, well, how do you, A, how does that happen? And B, how does it make it out the door? Which tells you there's just no quality control. Yeah.
So it sounds like those companies are just telling guys to switch to 6.4 gaskets because they screwed up, don't want to take fault, don't want to fix it. But they know if they switch to the 6.4 gaskets, it'll fix it.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be, people in the comments that jump in and say, "Oh, the 6.4 gasket's better."
It is better
because someone told the internet said so, and like maybe I don't know. We don't have any issues running. We get asked what gaskets to run all the time. We use Molle, Ford, Felpro. They're all fine. They all work great. Cometic, they all work fine. We've the gasket companies will say our heads aren't designed to be used with O-rings. And they weren't designed to be used with O-rings, but we designed our heads in our O-ring package to work with their gaskets.
Right.
And so, that's but now when you go change into a 6.4 gasket or something, they were not designed to work that way. No. And if I had to guess, I'd say that's probably an accident that someone was trying to cover, and say the 6.4 gaskets were, it's like, whoops, whoops, whoops is right.
Whoops, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, that I'm looking to get some heads for my truck, right? I just typed on Google, said, I want some Kill Devil diesel heads, and then I sorted by cheapest. Mm-hmm. And there was this really good deal, but it looked an awful lot like a Ford OEM casting. How do I know I'm buying an actual KDD head? Because I do want a KDD head.
Well,
I'm going to take it a step further. I have heard rumors, not rumors, I know this has happened.
I know this guy.
That people were sold KDD heads and they were not Kill Devil diesel heads.
I've
heard that too.
We've had customers bring us an invoice, Kill Devil diesel cylinder heads on the bill, verbatim, and they brought us the heads that were not our heads. And so, there's a lot of shady stuff that happens out there in the world. If you're ever not sure, Kill Devil diesel for the last half a decade has had either cast or laser engraved into the head our logo, and we can do some B-roll on where to find that logo, and you can pop the hood and look for it and see if you really got genuine Kill Devil diesel heads. Otherwise, it's like if it's a resurfaced factory head or if it's some other knockoff eBay deal, whatever, it is for sure not the same thing. It doesn't go through the same process, the same resurfacing, the same O-ring groove,
control,
the same valves and springs. It's not the same product that we're offering, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are that are willing to sell someone and they assume the customer will never know. But I mean, the average end user can pop the hood and see that it has our logo cast right into our castings, whether it's our Icon series aluminum heads or our cast iron heads, Cummins, any of them. So,
well, I mean, it's got to say something for your brand. People are like, they're choosing you to rip off.
Oh, I'm flattered.
That's an honor,
I'm flattered. I just also feel horrible for the guy that got ripped off, that paid full price for our heads, and then didn't get them. And and meanwhile, someone some unethecal is like laughing their way to the bank, and I feel bad for the guy. And it doesn't happen super often, but I mean, a few times a year we'll have someone that exact scenario plays out.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, and then it's like, man, I'm sorry that you were sold a product that wasn't ours, and then you now have a problem with it. But and we're happy to help and we love you, but that's not our product. We've had factory heads that crack after a few months in the fuel in the injector bore, and
I
know all about it.
Oh, really? Did yours cracked in the injector bore? Yeah, diesel fuel in the coolant.
Just
extra
just
lubrication,
like a little bit.
right?
A little more, yeah.
It wasn't like bad or anything.
Good news is you never run out of coolant that way. You know, the coolant reservoir is never empty, which is a tip that solves another 6-liter problem.
That's the best.
So,
You're
but
so smart, man. Damn.
but
So in stock, ready to ship,
Yeah.
Streamline for the best options in the world, and you're held on this pedestal of everyone wants
to rip
be
you off, dude.
KDD.
man, we're flattered.
guess.
You know, we're it really is humbling and flattered. You know, it's like in that scenario in the worst possible way, but it really is. It's amazing to have such, you know, loyalty from customers and stuff. And it's like the biggest struggle has been just trying to keep up with all that demand. And I'm really proud to say we've got a really hardworking team back in North Carolina, and you know, we've worked really hard the last couple of years to improve and just streamline the process, you know, without taking shortcuts to offer, you know, a better and better product and really improve the delivery. And so I'm really glad to say now we're, you know, in a better position to keep up now than we've ever been. And we're delivering orders more quickly. And, you know, we've doubled the size of our customer service staff, you know, have a whole new customer contact center. So we're, you know, we're really ready for the rest of 2025 and beyond.
Well, we're excited. We couldn't do this without you, not just the race truck, but you've helped us out for years with your knowledge on 6.0s, engines, and all the
Every
information.
time we have a question.
Glad to have you out here.
That's one of my favorite parts is working together. I've learned a lot on, you know, we collaborate and compare all the time turbos and data and compressor maps and all the nerd stuff, you know, and it's like, and that's what that's what I love is we learn. I mean, you guys, some of the testing you guys have done recently has proved there's been power there the whole time that you've found out new ways to unlock, which is really cool. So we're, you know, we're excited to be a part of it.
Well, until next time, if you want to check out Kill Devil, you can go to killdevildiesel.com, or we do sell all Kill Devil Diesel stuff on our website, KC Turbos, but you can check them out. You got a Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. Yeah. Or, we'd love to, you know, KC Turbo is a great partner of ours. Call them, they'll get you set up.
Yeah, and if you think you're getting a really good deal on Facebook Marketplace on some KDD heads, call this guy. And get a picture from the person.
Well, and I'll tell you.
And how can they call you, Jared, to send you these great pictures of factory-modified heads?
Yeah, call us, or you can even text the company. It goes to our contact center, 252-725-1222. When you buy from KC Turbos, you know you're getting the genuine KDD heads.
Guaranteed.
So, yep.
So, Jared, thank you so much for joining us, dude. We appreciate you coming out. Hopefully, we can get that race truck up and going. And
glad to be here. Hopefully, we'll get your truck up and going.
Well, you know.
We'll see.